I don't think you should keep using the traditional charts in Excel because look at the difference. We can create our own customized chart and it's way better, more polished, more professional than the standard one. And on top of that, we can get rid of the information that are not necessary. Let's say the left axis, the legend, those buttons that may appear, and also the horizontal reference lines or grid lines. We can remove all those elements and have a more cleaner chart. So step by step, using a raw data set, let's see how to create our own customized chart in Excel. The very first thing we need to create any type of chart in Excel is a data set. And in my case, I have a raw data set. But why I'm using a raw data set with many columns and many rows instead of use a ready-to-use table, a shorter version, let's say? Because a raw data set is probably what you are going to have in a real world scenario. You have a raw data set and then you need to summarize it and then create the customized chart. So I want to show you guys here the full process from the raw data to the customized chart. Okay, I already have my raw data set and actually it doesn't matter what type of data I'm using. Let's say purchasing, sales, logistics, HR, production, etc., etc. You can use any type of data. Click, hold, and drag in order to select the entire data set because I'm not going to use this regular range, standard range in Excel. I'm going to format as a table. I think it's a very important benefit because I'm going to show you why I mean by benefits. Insert, table, make sure with this new dialog box, you mark the option, the checkbox, my table has headers. Okay, yes. The first benefit of having a table in Excel is every time you add new information, let's say I'm going to add here a new region and then enter, Excel is going to automatically update the range. The range grows as you add new information into the table. So this is a very crucial benefit. Another thing, if we click on the table and then go to insert, we already have the pivot table option enabled. You can click on the pivot table. In this new dialog box, you can go to new worksheet and then click OK. From here is where we are going to summarize the raw data set and then create the chart. At the bottom of Excel, you can see the new sheet that was added. And here to the left, we can see the pivot table. To the right, we can see the pivot table fields. Basically, those options that we have right here are the columns of our table. And down here, we have the pivot table area that are the filters, rows, columns, and values. Basically, we take any information up here, click, hold, and drag down to those into those areas. Let me show you guys here an example. I want to see total revenue, click, hold, and drag within values. If I go back to the pivot table, I already can see the total revenue, but instead of only look to one single value, I want to expand or to be more specific. Instead of only look for the total value, I can go and see for order date. Click, hold, and drag date and drop it into rows because Excel is going to organize the values into different months: January, February, March, April, and etc. If I click on this pivot table, now I can create the chart. Insert, we can actually use the first option, that is a column chart. Click, hold, and drag this chart up here. Maybe we're done for this first example, but wait, this is the traditional chart of Excel. I'm going to keep it as it is, right? However, now I want to add the same chart again, because this new chart that we are going to add again, we can customize it and then we can compare the final result with the regular, with the standard Excel chart. So again, on the pivot table, insert a column chart again. Let me bring this chart a little bit down and increase the width. Click, hold, and drag within those handles. Click, hold, and drag outwards like this. As you guys can see, we have all the information we need. For example, the labels, the legend, title, the axis to the left, this horizontal reference line that is the grid line, and etc. But I think we don't need to see all those information maybe we can have a more clean chart. So in order to do that, I'm going to start with get rid of the information that I don't think it's necessary. For example, the legend that we have here to the right. Why I don't need the legend? Because I already know the blue one is the blue column. There's only blue columns here in the on the chart, so I don't need to actually see the legend. This makes no sense. So click on the legend, get rid of, delete. Also in the line in the background, the grid line, delete the values to the left. And we may also delete those gray buttons. And those buttons are from the pivot table itself. They are basically filters. But I don't want to see those values, so I can go to pivot chart, analyze, filter buttons, and hide all. Okay, now we have a more cleaner look on the chart. And if we compare already with the previous one, we have way less information. But there is a problem here. Because we get rid of the values, I don't actually know how much each column represents. Because in the standard chart, of course I know. I can draw a line, a horizontal line reference, and see more or less that November is actually equal to $20,000 and etc. But we don't have the same for this customized version. So how can we solve this problem? I like to solve this problem by adding the values on the top, on top of each one of those columns. And in order to do that, we can click and select the entire chart, go to design all the way here to the left, add chart element, and then we can enable the data labels. You can find different options right here. The one that I like the most is the outside end, because we can see the values above the columns. And we can also have a problem because by adding those values, as we have large numbers, $13,034 in this example, we have many characters. So we need to maybe adjust the decimal places, get rid of them, and maybe also get rid of the dollar sign to have a more concise information. And to do that, let me right click on those numbers and then go to Format Data Labels. All the way here to the right, we can go to Numbers. As the category, we can change to number. As the decimal places, we can use 0, enter. Okay, now we have a more concise number. But because we get rid of the dollar sign, someone else that look at this chart may not know that we are talking about currency. So what we can do is we can include the dollar sign into the title of the chart, in the name of the chart. Let's say total revenue per month, and then in parentheses we can use the dollar sign, close parentheses, and that's it. So it's a more concise layout. And talking about the label of the chart, we can go to the chart title again to select everything, go to the Home tab, and reduce the font size. Maybe we can use 12. And if you like this option, you can also use bold, because it's going to create a contrast from the background. And I think it's way easier to look and see the information. We can do actually something similar to the values itself, and also for the legends that are underneath the columns. Everything in bold. Okay, yeah, that's it. Another layout that I always like to apply is, instead of using the standard square column, we can use a rounded one. And to do that, we can right click on those columns and go to Format Data Series. All the way here to the right, we can go to the painting bucket, go to border. Let me choose a grading line. Grading line is when you have different colors within the same element. Let's say we have a lighter blue and then a darker one, and etc. etc. For this case, I want to get rid of the maximum grading stops I can. Click on the first one and then click on this X sign to get rid of. Click, hold, and drag one to the left, another one to the right. And the one to the left, it can be a dark blue like this one, and the one to the right, a lighter blue like this. If we take a look at the chart, we cannot actually see the difference because the border line or the outline line is too small, too thin. So we need to increase the width of this line. And in order to do that, we can increase the width. This is the option that we are looking for. I may increase this number to 7. Okay, maybe we can increase even more. Let me use 14. Okay, I think 14 is good enough. And if you guys pay attention here, the only thing we are seeing now is the outline. There's no fill color. This one that I mean, fill, there's no fill in this chart because the borders are so thick that we cannot actually see the background color of the column. But okay, it's perfect. I like this way. Another thing that we can adjust are the numbers because the numbers are too close to the columns. We can make them up a little bit. So by clicking on the numbers, we can go to the third option, that is size and properties. Under alignment, we can go to bottom margin and increase quite a bit. And we can also increase the top margin, maybe 0.3 inches. Okay, I think those numbers are too large. Let me reduce quite a bit. 0.1 and 0.1. Okay, now I think it's better. The numbers are not too close to the columns, but there's actually a little space separating those two elements. And just to finish this layout, we can go to the background itself, but pay attention because within this frame of the chart, we actually have two frames. We have the overall frame, the entire frame, where all the chart is, but we actually have, if you click within the chart, we have what is called the plot area. That is this canvas where we have the columns, the values, and etc. So this is the inner canvas or the plot area. I'm not going to change the plot area, but I want to change the entire frame of the chart. Select the entire chart area, right click it, and then go to format chart area. All the way here to the right, we can go to effects, shadow, choose a shadow that you like the most. Then on the paint bucket, fill, I'm going to leave as it is, blank or white. And as the border, I want to use a black one. And if you have this option on your Excel version, I think it's very good to use rounded corners. Instead of have the traditional pointing corners, now we have rounded ones. And as we saw, I used shadows to the background. You can do the same for the columns itself. Click on the columns, right click, go to format data series. All the way here to the right, we can choose effects, shadow, and then choose a shadow that you like the most. Okay, guys, I think we're done with the chart. And look at the difference between the customized one with the traditional one. It's way better in my opinion. We can see the information easier because instead of draw a line to the left to see where the column is using the axis, we can see the values above the columns and everything is better formatted, let's say. The colors, the layout, the structure, we remove unnecessary information such as the legend, the grid lines, those buttons, and etc. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video on how to customize a chart in Excel and get rid of the traditional layout. So let me know if you like this video, comment down below if you have any suggestion to the next ones, and I see you in the next one.